My name's Jane Bernstein, and the name of my book is Printing Music in Renaissance Rome. The book is about books, and it's about music and how it relates to composers and people in general and musical institutions that were in Rome. And it was a very interesting journey because in some respects this book is a kind of counterpart to my work that I've done on Venetian music printing during this same time period. And when I started research on this book, I thought it would be similar to the book that I did before, but what happened was that Rome was such a unique place in terms of book printing. When I went to my first library, and really when you work on books, you have to look at them in person. So I went to the British Library, was the first library I went to look at the books, and I was astounded when they brought the books out, that they came in these amazingly different shapes and sizes, from huge books, sort of like, I don't know if people know the Audubon Birds of America book. This is sort of elephant folio, that's what they're called, that size, up to these tiny little books, and all different designs and shapes, which was not the case with Venetian books of this time period. So it was clear that Roman printers customized their books, and that was an important feature of how composers reacted with printers. So it was quite a journey to go from library to library and see these different books. It was always a surprise what would come out. And there's something you cannot ever get if you look at books online. They all look the same. They are all the same size, scrolling on your screen. But that's not obviously the case. You have to see things in person. Well, I think that they should take away the kind of book revolution that took place and how it affected music in the 16th century. The book really begins in 1476, which was the year that the very first book contained music printed from movable type. And sort of only 20 years after Gutenberg invented the process, so to speak, and then takes it all the way up to 1600, and when opera begins. And it really gives a kind of history of this revolutionary process, how people used books, how composers were able to disseminate their music in ways that had nothing to do with their patrons, and how they were able to communicate who they were through the medium of print. Well, this is a special field, and I think that in general, it's really what this is about is materiality, which is a special field that deals with this whole notion of how the materials affect what the product is. In this case, how do books and the book sizes and the demands of customers, that is the composers, whether they got it or not, how that the materials of the book affected the music that was in it, what composers wrote. If they wrote secular music, popular music, it came in little books that were cheap and easy to buy. If they wanted to make a name for themselves, they didn't publish in Rome, they published in Venice, which was the capital, international capital. So you could see composers and music moving along in different ways, and I think that notion of materiality is a crucial one for researchers to consider when they work in this field.